When you move to Tennessee, you're also moving in with all kinds of nasty, horrible, creepy crawly things. You know, one of the reasons that people tell me they're really looking and excited about moving to the Nashville, Tennessee area is because of the great outdoors, because of all the green spaces, because of trees, because of just the more rural nature that is Nashville, that is Middle Tennessee, especially, actually all over the state. But especially if you go over to the east side of the state with Knoxville and Chattanooga, Crossville, some of those areas, because obviously that is closer to the mountains. But Nashville is green and trees and water and rivers and a lot of recreational things to do. And with those come some of the horrible, creepy, crawly things that Mother Nature slams at us, because you can't have everything be perfect, right? So today we're going to talk about the things that I get asked about a lot, especially from people who don't have these in these areas, maybe some of the drier areas of the country where you're coming from. So today, in this show, we're talking about all the horrible, creepy crawlies. So we have our problems. Tennessee is not perfect. And as I say, some of the reasons that people love coming to Tennessee does create an atmosphere or an environment where some of these nasty, creepy, crawly Mother Nature problems do occur. So today we're going to talk about, in ascending order of my concern, and it may not be yours, I'd be interested to know, but in ascending order of my concern, no, I don't like any of them, by the way. Snakes, spiders, chiggers, and ticks. And you're going to want to stay to the very end because I promise you, well, let's just say, I took one for the team today, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do about it. Now, Tennessee does have a lot of snakes, and nobody likes to be surprised with snakes. I get that. Except for, I do have a friend who is kind of obsessed with snakes, and he loves to watch snakes, and just gross. But there are 4 that people hear about and are really, really concerned about. Now, we have a lot of rivers here. We have a lot of woods here. Where do snakes like to live? Near water, near the woods. So some of the 4 that everybody's heard about is coral snakes, which I don't even know anyone who has ever seen a coral snake. I've been here my entire life. I know of 0 people who've ever seen a coral snake. But if you Google it, it says that Tennessee has coral snakes. Also, water moccasins. We also have timber rattlesnakes and copperheads. Now, so many snakes look like that copperhead and the rattlesnake that people freak out. Many times I've seen on Facebook group posts where somebody's taken a picture of one they've seen, and it turns out to be one of our really, very nice snakes, which could be the corn snake or the black racer snake or the king snake. And the thing is, snakes are actually good. Those non-poisonous snakes, the king, the racer, and the corn snake, actually eat the poisonous snakes. So here's the thing. When you're around water, watch where you're going. I've only seen corn snakes, and that's because I grew up around a barn. And of course, they like haylofts and that type of thing. I've seen the corn snake. Been here my entire life. I have never seen any other type of snake. But again, doesn't mean we don't have them. We do. I know of no one who's ever been bitten by a rattlesnake or a water moccasin. I can't say that that's never happened, but I'm going to put in the description a place where you can find out a little bit more about each one of these types of snakes. So let's talk a little bit about spiders. Now, that is a little bit more of something that I have a little bit of concern. Remember, I'm taking this in least to most concern. Now, not that I want to run into a snake. I don't like snakes. But the next one is going to be spiders. And we've got all kinds of bugs and spiders. You have that with vegetation. The 2 that people are most concerned about, and should be because they are venomous, that you can find here in Nashville or the Middle Tennessee area, any area in Tennessee, is both the brown recluse and the black widow spider. The brown recluse is usually found under logs and rocks, in firewood piles, in boxes, maybe in a basement where you've got everything kind of piled up. Any area where there's a lot of clutter. And the black widow is actually similar in places where they like to hide. As the name states, brown recluse really likes to be in quiet places all by themselves in the dark. And they can be in attics. They don't mind warm spots, hot spots, but it's mostly where there's clutter and a lot of debris under rocks, that type of thing. If you suspect you have been bitten by a brown recluse, then seek medical attention quickly. If you suspect an infestation, or actually if you find one in your garage, or if you've been bitten and you think you found one, then I would go ahead and call a pest control company. We've got lots of good ones around in the state. They're used to this. They know what they're looking for. Put your home under regular pest control. Now, if you have firewood pits or boxes in your backyard and you regularly bring in firewood for the winter, then the time that you're going to most likely find these brown recluses is in the fall. Be sure to inspect and maybe go through your firewood with gloves when you get it. But be sure to inspect to make sure you don't bring a spider into your house. Let's talk about that black widow that everybody is so afraid of. Now, the male black widows typically do not bite. The females typically bite, usually more so after they've had babies. Maybe they're protecting their babies. Maybe they're hormonal. Don't know. But black widows bite. Now, they also don't just come after you to bite. They bite for protection. So again, it's back to the same situation. The places you are more likely to find a black widow spider might be up in your attic, down in a basement, where there's lots of places for them to hide. So, I would suggest you, for the most part, again, back to the same thing. Call a pest control company. Have your home on a regular contract to have them sprayed for that, and just use care. Watch where you're putting your hand. Some of the hallmarks of maybe have you been bit by a black widow would be nausea, sweating, extremely high, fast blood pressure. Back to that brown recluse. If you ever have shoes maybe out in your garage that you use to come in and out of the house with, if you have those kind of shoes, I would suggest before you put your feet deep into those shoes, pick it up, slam it out, make sure nothing comes out of it. That's really the only kind of thing I've ever seen. And it wasn't a brown recluse either. It was just spiders. I mean, creepy crawly things are creepy crawly things. So we're going in order of what I am most concerned with and what really bothers me the most. And this is going to be something right now. This is not a good time for me to be out walking around in yards. So I'm not going to walk in the grass. It's been really humid for the last couple of days. We've had a lot of rain, and I tend to be a very tasty treat for chiggers. Now, I don't know really how to tell you what a chigger is, but it's a biting bug. It's teeny tiny. Some of us call them no-see-ums. Again, that might be the same thing as a chigger. I don't know. But chiggers love me. And somebody who's tasty will get eaten up with little red bites. I typically don't feel bitten when I am, but a couple hours later is when a little bump shows up and it's really itchy. So for me, the best thing I can do, if you're not tasty for chiggers, hallelujah for you. If you are tasty to chiggers, then you need to stay out of grass, heavy grassy areas, especially after been humid days. This summer is August. It's been very rainy. And they like to stay in the grass. So there are so many things. You can use Skin So Soft, which a lot of people use and have great success with on their body, on their legs. Go ahead and use so many sprays that people don't like to use if they have chemicals in it, but I'll tell you, I use them. Off. I have it always in my car, in the back of my car, because I'm out showing property and showing houses all the time, and I can't not do it simply because I might get eaten up. But the chiggers, by far, are more of a concern to me from living here in Tennessee. I've lived here my entire life. Snakes, probably not going to see. I've seen just a couple, as I say, from the barn. Spiders, you're just careful where you put your hands in dark, damp, yucky places, and you can be careful. Chiggers, if I don't spray myself or if I walk in the grass, I'm going to get chewed up. It's just a fact of life. but 5 people sitting next to me may have no bites whatsoever. So I'm a tasty lady. Now, the 4th one is a problem, and there's certainly something to do about it. But I'm going to show you. I took one for the Gipper today. Been out walking under these trees, which again is back to what everybody loves Nashville for. I've been walking under the trees. I was showing you things. Well, today I found a tick on my arm. Ticks are not good, especially this time of year. We're getting to the fall. Things are getting kind of drier. Ticks drink your blood. So, tell me below, have you ever heard this great song by Brad Paisley? It's called Ticks. It is a song about ticks. It's pretty funny. But as I was doing the beginnings of this video, I looked down and found about 30 minutes later that I had a tick on my arm. I'm going to show it to you. I'm also going to tell you about it, and we're also going to show you how to get them out. Okay, for this last one, I had to come inside. First of all, it's really hot out there. In case you don't know, as I record this, it is August 22nd, I believe, right about 90 degrees, and the humidity is the real problem. So it's really hot. But I wanted to come in, and I will tell you, truth be told, this last one is the one that gets me the most. And I have no idea really why. I've grown up with it my entire life. I've dealt with them my entire life. But the grossest thing to me of all of this is the ticks. And we have them. There are 2 different types of ticks. And as a matter of fact, I got one. I'll show you the picture. As I was out filming, I got one. But I was walking out in the grass a lot, and that's exactly what happens. When you're in the grass, when you're in the trees, so the things that make Nashville so beautiful, the hiking, the outdoors, you know, you're not the only one who loves it. The critters do too. These ticks is the thing that gets me. Now, here's what you do. Every evening when you come in from out there, you just check yourself. There's that song that's a great song. I want to check you for ticks. It's a good song. You might want to check on that one. I'd like to check you for ticks. But you need to check. You need to check your scalp. You need to check. Ticks seem to like to kind of crawl up through your socks all you're everywhere and get to the places that are really, really gross places. So just check yourself. Now, there are 2 different basic types of ticks, and I'm not going to give you a whole tutorial, but there's a deer tick is what we call it, and then a wood tick. And we've got them both. They both carry diseases. They're both not good for you to have. What you need to do, and this is what I don't even notice when I have them. I really don't until I start to itch somewhere. So if you start to scratch a place that's just kind of weird and it keeps getting to you, be sure to check that place out. And if you find that you have one, I want you to do a couple things. The CDC recommends that there are all kinds of things. People tell me, put Vaseline on it that suffocates them and they'll back out, or put alcohol on it and that suffocates them and they'll back out. They don't like their butt burning. Or what's another one? Oh, here's one, which is, and again, so many of these things might work, but it's not what the CDC recommends. Another one is to light a match, burn it out, or blow it out. Light a match, blow it out, and then touch the back of the tick's bottom, because he's shaped such that his head goes in there. The problem is you want to get the head out, and some of the things, it's the venom or the saliva in a tick that is harmful to us humans. So what you want to make sure you do is you need to get down close to the head and you pull him all the way out, and you don't want him to be suffocated and throw up in your body. I tell you, that's why this is kind of the grossest thing to me, because just the thought of something attached to my body is disgusting. But I'll put some information for you down here. Now, if you have pets, you're also going to want to protect those pets. So every single pet when they come here need to have heartworm on a regular heartworm schedule. You need to have a good vet, and you also need to get your pet on some type of flea and tip control. I promise you. Otherwise, those fleas are going to come in with the dogs. They're going to come into your house. The fleas, the ticks, just do what I say. If you have horses, any outdoor pets, you need to be sure to check them constantly. When I was growing up, the horses would always have ticks. They always had the ticks in their hair. And actually, that's where I find them sometimes too, is in your hairline. So just, as I say,
Mother Nature gives us so many creepy crawly kind of things. We do have snakes. We do have the snakes. We do have, but most of them are good snakes. We do have chiggers. They're no good chigger. And you might be the blood type that the chiggers like me. I'm sorry. There are things we can do for that. I'll put some of those down in the description. The fleas, but the ticks, that's the one that is the worst for me. Still totally worthwhile to live in an area that's green, that's got 4 seasons, and tons of trees. I'm somewhat of a tree fanatic. So one thing I wanted to share with you is from a newcomer to Nashville area, from a newcomer's perspective, and these people are coming from Oregon, I believe, I wanted you to hear from their lips what they found after living 1 full year here. Here's exactly what she says. After living here a year and a half and having all 4 seasons plus a few, I actually don't mind the humidity at all, and the bugs don't bother me either. They really aren't as bad as I had imagined them to be before moving here. We love being so close to major cities we can drive to in a day, like Chicago, DC, Atlanta, Memphis, and more. We have noticed that we have much more money left over in the bank that we can save, and I have a huge amount of flexibility that I did not have back in Oregon. See, Sally? I'm not picking on California. Needless to say, we are tremendously happy we made the move and haven't looked back. It may be dramatic to say life-changing, but it really has been. So much more time as a family and a much slower, calmer pace of life. She goes on to say, challenges, because I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm not here to sell you anything. I want you to know what really Nashville life is like. Challenges. I don't love having to get into our safe space during tornado watches or warnings. Tornado warning storms are uncomfortable, but we have been through a few now and are getting a little more used to them. Again, be sure to subscribe to this channel because next week I am talking about our storms and tornadoes, some of the bigger things that Mother Nature does for us. And if this is important, you wanna not miss that out. So that's what my friend Megan has to say about moving from Oregon to Tennessee in her first year and a half experience of being here. Tell me, which of those 4 creepy, crawly, nasty things from Mother Nature do you think that would give you the most fits? This is Susan Thetford with Nashville Redefined and Parks Properties. I look forward to seeing you on one of these other videos.